Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the ICG's Digital Academy webinar series. I'm Sally Alsop, a member of the ICG committee responsible for running our webinar programme. So in today's webinar, you'll be hearing from Benjamin Rietti, who is CEO of eTabs. With over 2 decades of industry knowledge, Benjamin is a talented entrepreneur who recognises the integral role technology plays in market research. His innovative approach has seen the company provide reporting services and solutions to the MR industry for over 25 years now. There is increasing demand for interactive access to survey results, and many clients are asking for secure and instant visualization of their data online to complement or even replace static reports of their survey results. There are many online dashboard platforms, mostly built for the BI or business intelligence industry, but these tend to be expensive to deploy and require significant project setup time. So during this webinar, Ben will explore Iris, that's the eTabs solution with us, which has been designed specifically for market research. Ben has agreed to take questions after his talk, so please type them into the question box as usual as we go through, and we'll read them out during the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. Also, eTabs are pleased to offer a special discount to members of the ICG, and details of this will be shown at the end of the webinar, but also available on our website. So we're really grateful to Perspective for sponsoring this webinar. Perspective Research Services provides help at every stage of the data journey as an end-to-end experience or simply to dip into when needed. They operate one of the largest independent call centres in the UK and state-of-the-art viewing facilities in the heart of London. They provide qualitative recruitment, face-to-face fieldwork, B2B, mystery shopping and data processing services. Before I hand over to Ben, here are the next webinars to note in your diaries. All of them are now open for registration. And don't forget that we're able to offer great value sponsorship opportunities with each of our webinars. Sponsorship costs £100 for a lot of exposure on our website, mailers and social media, and of course on the day. And quite a lot of people look on our website and view webinars after the date as well. Please contact Lucy if you'd like to know more. So our speaker today is Benjamin Rietti from eTabs, and I will now hand over to Benjamin. Are you there, Benjamin? Can you?
Yeah. Yeah. Hi. Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep. Can't see your slides yet, though.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yeah, we can now. So I'll put myself on mute and hand over to you.
Excellent. Should be able to see it. Just can you see my PowerPoint full screen now?
Yep, that looks great.
Excellent. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Perspective, and thank you very much to the ICG and your members. I'm very happy to be with you this morning, and just clear my screen properly so I can see this. Okay, sorry. This was fine a second ago. Technical hit. Okay, great. Yep. So thank you very much for everyone and for joining and our webinar today on interactive reporting for market research. We've found ourselves in a very interesting time, as we've been, I think, saying over and over for the last 6 or so months now, and more we're discovering that technology is forcing us into situations that we weren't always comfortable in before. And having sort of sat in this chair for 27 years since eTabs was founded. It wasn't actually founded by myself, but I joined in sort of a year or so later. just seeing how technology has really changed the face of market research, particularly in deliverables as well. So ETABS as a company, just as a little bit of background, we specialize in what happens after you've got your data, after you've got your analysis. So we're all about data visualization, online dashboards, and automated charting, automated reporting solutions. Very proud to say we've won a number of awards over the years, both from the UK locally with MRS, ASC, and even having been invited to Buckingham Palace to receive the Her Majesty the Queen's Award for Enterprise some years back. And that was a wonderful honour and an excellent experience. So we are head office here in the UK, in London, and we have teams sort of spread across the world, a couple in the US and even in New Zealand. And this way we can sort of provide support to our clients around the clock, which is of particular relevance, I believe, to the many sort of freelancers and individuals in the ICG, where you're often working late at night, through the night, very early morning, and you need help. You appreciate the help being available at the end of the line at any hour of the day, really. So that's really what we're here for, to be able to keep everyone on the road. So the big question, well, why innovate and report online? I mean, obviously everything is going towards an online direction anyway, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be the be all and end all in the future. And often smaller agencies or freelance consultants weren't even considering responding to a client bid that demands an online dashboard deliverable. However, we believe that those lost opportunities could be a thing of the past, with an innovative approach to easier and really affordable dashboard building. And until now, many would have thought that was an impossible mission. But what we're presented with here now is an opportunity for added value, an opportunity for more revenue opportunities. So when you're talking to your clients, and many small agencies and freelancers, consultants, they have a very, very close relationship with their clients, and they're seen as very boutique and specializing and going that extra mile. And that's why end users appreciate that level of service. So if you can now say, hey guys, I know till now I didn't have the capability of delivering your results in an online dashboard, but now we can, that may well score a lot of brownie points. And that may be something you give as a value add, or maybe something that you can actually generate some additional revenue from. The more you go towards your clients, the more proactive you can be with your clients, the stronger that client relationship will become. That's why we believe it really is important to try and harness opportunities, harness technology wherever possible to better what we can do for our clients. So I said that it was seemingly an impossible mission. We're going to show you today how it becomes mission impossible. So the whole purpose of today's session is to demonstrate once and for all how online dashboards are an easy, efficient, and effective means of communicating research findings to your clients. Creating dashboards has long been perceived as taking heavy technical wizardry to display a relatively simple looking, yet interactive set of charts, also costing a small fortune to produce, both in terms of initial software investment as well as time. So it's no surprise then that most freelance consultants and smaller boutique research agencies simply don't even consider dipping their feet into the water, and especially at a time like this when we're all struggling and may not think about proactively putting time and effort into innovation. So to prove to you just how efficiently you can build an online dashboard, my mission, to use the famous line, if I choose to accept it, is to build a client-ready dashboard within 30 minutes of this webinar. You'll see that's already started. And for this mission, I'll be using our own Iris online dashboard platform, designed from the ground up specifically for market research. And I'll be talking about this in more detail throughout the webinar. So the clock, as you notice, is already ticking. So watch this video in the top corner as I continue speaking, and you'll see us simultaneously building a dashboard from beginning to end. No camera trickery, no edits, no CGI, all in one take. And that's going to be visible throughout the webinar. So what's our first mission? Why does it currently take so much effort and time to build a dashboard? Why hasn't the industry truly embraced online dashboards as a report deliverable? Well, I think the overriding answer is simple. The industry has been using the wrong tools for the job. Often we're trying to build relatively simple dashboards in terms of the data they're displaying, etc., but using softer solutions that quite frankly aren't the best fit. The dashboard solutions on offer don't typically or fully meet those exacting needs of the market researcher. Those solutions are mainly BI, or what they call business intelligence tools. And basically we need an MR tool, not a BI tool. Business intelligence tools are great at what they do, but they simply don't speak our language. And that's where the initial problem lies. So currently, if say we want to use multi-response data, show significance, stat testing, low base indication, or calculate top two boxes dynamically, so we have to be an expert in coding or data manipulation to display it on a dashboard. It should be just as easy to display significance in an online world as it is in a PowerPoint chart. So that is the barometer in terms of reporting. We've all built PowerPoint reports, and it's a relatively simple thing to do. To replicate that online, we have introduced a revolutionary new dashboard solution called Iris, which is built, like I said, from the ground up with market research needs in mind. Using an MR platform to build MR dashboards was certainly seen the right tool for the job here. So our first mission has been completed. I think the unique aspect to Iris is that you can create a sophisticated dashboard from multiple data sources without needing any specialist web developers. Create something that both looks good and produces the desired results is just an hour's training away. Whether it's just a single page of KPIs or multiple linked canvases, each canvas can have any number of charts, tables, infographics, gauges, text, images, and filters. As the video shows, it's not scary, and you can create something meaningfully really quickly. Dashboard building becomes fun and creative, and it's great for these times of lockdown when sometimes we're twiddling our thumbs and not quite sure what's going to happen if the phone doesn't ring with a client demand. So each chart or infographic is an object, or widget as we call them, and has a host of options to control all the different aspects and formatting, much like objects in PowerPoint. So our motto is, if you can use PowerPoint, then you can use Iris and build a dashboard for your client project. If we now talk a bit more about the data itself, so traditionally, this has not been as easy as it should be. Certainly, if we think about traditional business intelligence solutions, it's very difficult for a researcher to work with MR data in BI products, the likes of Tableau and so on. More often than not, it involves performing complicated macros and writing VBA to manipulate your data tables in a particular way to effectively shoehorn them into the BI database format. It's often the case that this part takes just as long, if not longer, than building the dashboard itself. Indeed, I remember reading documentation from a major BI platform entitled "Get Your Survey Data BI Ready," and it was about 38 pages long. So it's no wonder that the amount of data preparation needed simply scares people off. Adding additional manual processes to the build can produce mistakes, as well as adding substantial time and cost to the overall project build. Because Iris is a solution built specifically for the needs of our MR industry, so the user is able to quickly upload a data file, whether it's respondent level data, aggregated tables in an Excel file, a CSV file, an SPSS SAV file. It could even connect to a live API feed or SQL database. Basically, Iris is built to deal natively with all the types of data that we work with as an industry. So using Iris will mean this mission is completed quickly. So once you've got the data dashboard ready, the next mission is to visualize how that's going to be, visualize it in the dashboard. So market research has its own unique style of visualization, like that the BI world does not use, indicating key data points like significance, identifying low bases, netting and multi-responses, adding up to over 100%. And these are just a few unique characteristics which traditional BI tools do not handle well, and even many other MR tools do not adequately address. As researchers, we understand these characteristics, but translating them into a visual form on a dashboard usually requires the placement of indicators, arrows, letters, and asterisks, which we're used to doing that in PowerPoint, of course. So while current dashboard tools can often display these, they would need to be coded with complex scripting to actually achieve that. Essentially, it's not easy to do what would otherwise be a typical reporting task for a research exec. The Iris platform allows the user to drag and drop either typical chart-based visualizations, bars, pies, donut charts, etc., or even more grabbing infographic type visuals, such as dials, gauges, word clouds, all without the need to learn any clever coding logic or previous technical knowledge. So we hope that makes our next mission complete. So the dashboard is now all designed and looks lovely. But how about publishing and distributing it to the end users? So for those of you who currently subscribe to BI-Tool, you will already be aware of how their licenses tend to work. So in essence, you have to purchase viewer licenses as well as designer or creator licenses. But in terms of those viewer licenses, it can be very expensive to deploy dashboards to a large number of viewers. What if more users than you budgeted for suddenly need access to? You can't sort of turn around to your corporate clients and say, oh, actually, we didn't think you need 2,000 logins. It's great that this has gone exponential, but how are we going to budget for that if you're being charged $10 or $15 a month for it, or pounds rather, for each and every user that wants to access it? Very difficult conversation to have with a client. So on top of that, there may be technical issues, like requiring certain web browsers or downloading and installing an app in order to view it. Will someone need the flexibility to choose whether to view the dashboard on a tablet or their mobile or on their PCs? Everyone wants flexibility nowadays to be on the road and be able to check it on the dashboard results wherever and whenever and whatever you're looking at it on. Some of you may be familiar with having to arduously build 3 different versions, a PC, a tablet, and a mobile version, and then do some clever HTML coding to put the right dashboard up based on the screen size being viewed. All of these issues add further complexity and barriers to entry for research companies to fully embrace online dashboards as a viable project deliverable. With our offering with Iris, these issues simply go away. Firstly, in terms of viewer costs, we charge Iris very differently to the current BI tools that are out there. There's no license model as such, but a per project cost. So you only pay for the projects which are live once they go live. I'll talk about this a bit later in another mission, but it makes it a lot easier to share your dashboard with a larger audience without worrying about spiraling costs. In terms of the technical side, Iris allows designers to create dashboards which are fully mobile responsive too. That means they adapt dynamically to the viewing device. So if you're on a small tablet, it'll adjust and make all the widgets, the charts, look better on that smaller screen. So there's no app to download, no restrictions on which web browsers to use. Any device which supports any device or browser that supports HTML5 will work. So that would be another mission completed there. As an industry, we rely heavily on PowerPoint as a deliverable. Our own automated charting solutions are as busy as ever as a testimony to this, particularly in the current climate where people are looking to save costs, and maybe till now they were outsourcing or just spending hours and hours typing away numbers. That's now a thing of the past. And despite dashboards being online, there's still a desire to export them into PowerPoint. Many dashboard tools actually ignore that. The tools that do allow some sort of export typically only produce a screenshot of the page, an image, which means you can't do anything with it apart from just paste it into a PowerPoint slide. We realized that our tool would need to work more natively within PowerPoint itself, not simply to produce screenshots and images of the charts, but allow the user to work with and even edit them in PowerPoint. Export just the current view, or even automatically roll out individual slides for each filter combination into a whole deck. So we'd have another mission complete there in terms of your clients wanting to be able to access the results ultimately in a PowerPoint deck or export them into PowerPoint. So we've worked on design, distribution, and deliverables. Now, possibly our greatest challenge will be to get it approved by the IT director and get sign-off. Any of you that have tried to suggest a new solution that gets installed on a corporate client's desktop will know how difficult that can really be. So as I mentioned, our solution constantly has our market research and insights industry in mind, and that includes the pricing model too. Traditional BI solutions, as we said, can be extremely expensive. You buy the designer licenses, the viewer licenses, the interactive licenses, and you've suddenly spent £20,000 to £30,000 before you've even started building your first dashboard project. So and then you have to try and recoup that level of investment through the years that follow too, on the assumption that your client commits to many, many years. So Iris, however, is very different in terms of how it's licensed. You do not necessarily need to go cap in hand to the IT director or procurement asking for more. And Iris is charged, on, like I said, on a per live project basis, with no additional costs for designer or viewer licenses, no hidden charges which weren't budgeted for. And this means that without any initial outlay at all, you can generously offer dashboard deliverables as part of your standard offerings and proposals. Again, that's not something that we would necessarily have thought of doing up until this point, given the barrier to entry. When you're putting a proposal together, you can include the Iris dashboard fee within your costs because you know it's fixed. If you win the project, that's great. The client is budgeted for the dashboard and no additional outlay to worry about. If you don't win the project, there's no live project, so no out-of-pocket costs incurred. And back to the context of the IT director and any concerns they may have, it's completely cloud-based. So it's all online. Again, no software to install, and it's hosted on mega secure Microsoft Azure servers. So no software to download, no server space to purchase or firewalls to install and check. And apart from Microsoft's guarantee of 99.9% server uptime, eTabs also includes unlimited near 24-hour support, as I mentioned earlier, as well as customized training. So we'll hold your hand every step of the way. So take a deep breath. There should be no additional work for the IT director to worry about. And you should hopefully be able to get that through to your client to play with very, very easily. So mission accomplished there as well. I think particularly in the world of smaller outfits and consultants, the last thing you want is to have to worry about paying for hardware, paying for software, paying for an infrastructure and capital expenses that you won't very easily or be guaranteed to recoup. So that's why this whole model just enables anyone to dip their feet into dashboards without worrying about all those hidden extras. So here's some screenshots of some of the generic dashboards that we've built. Of course, I can't show you the really cool ones, as those would be live client-specific tools, dashboards. But anyone will be able to visualize their key insights in an online environment, regardless of their previous dashboard technical experience. And over here, you can also see this idea of the responsive layout on the different devices. So they essentially, the dashboards will adjust themselves to meet those different screen sizes. The Iris dashboard platforms allow literally anyone to build this type of interactive, engaging online dashboard in a matter of minutes. In fact, they've been able to build, albeit very simple, client-ready dashboards in as little as 5 minutes. Our mission today, as you can see, we're sort of halfway there, is to build more than just a simple dashboard. It's got several widgets on there, and all that will be done within 30 minutes. So I've decided to show you something that's just that little bit more ambitious. So by working through the process from beginning to end, all during this time, you've seen this dashboard being built. It's over halfway through now, and the whole dashboard environment has been made accessible to any researcher. So you can build them in an online environment just as easy as building a PowerPoint chart in an offline one. And with Iris, it's gone from mission impossible to mission now possible. So how can eTabs help you to make this happen? Well, firstly, contact us. We, as Sally mentioned earlier on, we're embracing the ICG and offering very, very generous pricing and discounts in order to help you get on the bandwagon and help get you going with offering this value add to your clients. If for whatever reason you don't want to build it yourself, however easy it may be, we're here to help you as well. So we have a whole team who at the ready to take your instructions or take your concepts and ideas and make them into reality, put them into, design them in Iris for you, and then hand it over to you. And like I said, handing over is literally just giving you a login. We're not talking about having to install stuff and take over any infrastructure yourselves. Well, we have another 12 minutes before the dashboard creation completes. So I wonder, it might be a good point now, whilst you're still able to watch what's going on, to take any questions from the audience.
Well, thanks very much, Benjamin. And we've already got a number of questions that have come through, so very happy to read those out for you. First question is, just checking you can hear me, can you?
Yes.
Yes.
You can hear me, yes.
Yeah, first question, is it fully GDPR compliant?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So in fact, the because Iris, as I mentioned before, is on the Microsoft Azure platform, it means that it's replicated on multiple servers across the globe. So we have it on servers in the UK, in Europe, North America, Asia Pacific, and they're all completely GDPR compliant. It also helps that if you would end up having clients that are international based, it means that sometimes they have restrictions that this data must only reside in, let's say, Canada, because it's for a Canadian government study. So we can just switch on a copy of the entire Iris system on an Azure server in Canada, and there you go. The client will be happy with that.
Okie doke. Can you work from SAV files?
Yes, SPSS SAV files, that's absolutely fine. So you can literally just drag and drop that into Iris as one of your data sources. I say one of your data sources because you can actually be pulling in data from multiple places into the dashboard. It doesn't all have to be coming in from one SPSS file or one Excel file, CSV file, whatever. And that could be quite relevant to a number of projects where they may well have simultaneous sort of feeds of data coming in.
Okay. How about, is there a limit on the size of the data set? This person is just thinking about large trackers, for example.
Right. No, there are no real fixed limits, particularly not on sort of number of rows. If you're talking about thousands and thousands of columns, then that may be something we need to invert. But certainly number of rows is absolutely no fixed limit.
Okay, next question. Can I set up a dashboard where different people have different levels of access to the data?
Yes, yeah, we could call that hierarchical access. So for example, let's say you're looking at I don't know, a bank. The bank has got, as we heard on the news today, even less branches, but you've got head office that wants to see everything. You've got perhaps the regional managers that want to see their region, and then you've got the individual branch managers that want to see just their KPIs. So yes, you can have different levels of controlled access, essentially, to filter out what they can and can't see, depending on their seniority or level of access.
Okay. All right. So the next one, a bit gobbledygook to me, I have to admit, but it says, what is the underlying data that feeds into the dashboard? If we have confirm it, ASCII, JSON, XLS tables, what difference does this make?
Okay, great question. So essentially, we could take. Sorry, can you just repeat that again? Sorry.
Yeah.
I know it was
So what is the underlying data that feeds into the dashboard? If we have
right.
confirm it, ASCII, JSON, XLS tables, what difference does this make?
Okay, sure. Great. So essentially, doesn't make that much difference. Obviously, the more granularity you've got going in, then the more flexibility and control, filtering and so on, you can do on the way out. So ultimately, whatever you upload into here goes into the online SQL database. Just another buzzword there for you. And that could be Excel tables. It could be data coming out from Confirmit. In the case of Askia, in fact, we have a direct API. So Askia had a hand in sort of a joint development to bring Askia to market, to bring Iris to market. So there is already a direct API to the Askia Vista platform. But in addition to that, you could be pulling in from Confirmit and from all the other sources that you just mentioned.
Okay, so that sort of answers another question. Does Iris have API access so we can download data from the dashboards?
To actually take data out of the dashboard, you can, yes, correct. There is an API, and there is a direct way to be able to extract data from there, as well as a manual method if wanted of the user just clicking on the download button and getting the data or exporting it, like we mentioned before.
Okay. Is there any way to incorporate open ends? So, for example, pulling through sample quotes, example quotes.
Example quote, yeah, sure. So yes, in fact, you could choose to show the open ends through a word cloud, or as in to find the most frequently occurring words, put that into a word cloud, or you could just show the verbatims as they are into text boxes and scroll through them and page through them and so on. So yes, the dashboard isn't just about the numbers and the charts that you can see on the screen now, or even visualizations like the Coca-Cola can there being filled with 70% of color, but also imagery, brand logos, and text. So the verbatims would be covered with that too.
Okay. Is there any data manipulation involved to import raw data?
Usually not, assuming it's in a good consistent structure. However, there is a full sort of data import wizard that comes with Iris, so that you can do typical types of manipulations that might be necessary. You can join variables, create single variables out of multiple, like put all your age responses into buckets of 18 to 25, 26 to 50, that type of thing. So you've got all that data manipulation if you need it available to you.
Okay. Another question: is it easier to use than Power BI?
Yes, we believe it is. And again, because it's built for market research and it's not built for BI, you're going to have a lot less issues bringing in survey data, and you're going to have no issues showing things in the MR typical way. So dealing with multiple response, dealing with stat testing, dealing with showing the sig letters, for example, on the charts, dealing with dynamic nets. All those things are completely foreign to the Power BI world, but if to market researchers, that's just our normal de facto language. So I think you'd have a lot easier time with this than Power BI.
Okay, so then the next question is, can you do stat testing easily? So I guess you've sort of answered that, but I don't know if you want to say any more on that, on stat testing.
Sure. So yes, very easy. On the right hand side, you can see all those different little property boxes, and it's going quite quickly, so it's difficult. I can't sort of pause that process. But essentially, if you want to add stat testing to a given object, you just check the box that says show significance testing, and you can choose the formula. You can choose how that's then displayed as well. So it really is, applying stat testing is literally just a click away.
Okay. Will you be describing the inputs, format of data, sample sizes, etc., for the live tracking dashboard build used in this presentation?
I won't be doing that now. I don't want to sort of go into too much detail given the time allocation, but more than happy to take a separate offline conversation about that with whoever is asking, and we can go into much more detail on that level with pleasure.
Okay, so that's the last question I've got at the moment, unless anybody's got any last minute questions to come through. I can see we've got another 3.5 minutes to go, so if anybody's got any other questions to ask Benjamin while he's here, please send those through now. Are you able to share the pricing?
Sure, because this webinar is is open to non-ICG members. We don't really want the non-members to know about the preferential rates that we're giving to ICG. So we weren't going to actually announce that now, but more than happy for ICG, Sally, if you want, you can send out an email with some example pricing afterwards. More than happy for you to do that.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure we can do that. Another question, how long does it take to learn to use?
Great question. That famous last word, intuitive. So however intuitive it may be, that we don't feel that's what you should have to rely on. So as soon as somebody wants to try it out, and we said there's literally zero cost whatsoever to try it out, and even build dashboards that your clients can play with. However, that as soon as you come on board with that, we have this whole what we call onboarding process. So one of our consultants will speak with the interested company and look at their data, check that's all good, understand a bit more about their requirements and how they want to visualize it, and then tailor web training sessions precisely to those client project needs. So it'll be one-on-one, or you can involve multiple people if you want on those sort of live web trainings. Usually, typically 2 or 3 mini sessions are part of that onboarding process. And again, that's all free. And yeah, even after the first session, you should already be able to get quite far. We give it in these bite-sized chunks just to enable the trainees to gain confidence and before moving on to the next sort of level of complexity.
Okay, another question on costing. So how does the costing work? Is it a monthly fee, and what sort of access can be offered to our clients if we purchase a license?
Okay, great question. So basically, there's an option of paying for a whole year of access, or you can take it on a month-by-month basis, which again is quite helpful for the scenario that I'm painting, where you want to dip your feet into the water. The client says, yeah, okay, great, yeah, let's have a dashboard with that, please. I'll have fries with that. And then you don't have to show commitment to a whole 12 months. Then maybe they want to try it for 3 months. So you're not having to pay for a whole year of a dashboard project where actually the shelf life may only be 2, 3, 4 months. So yeah, you can pay for it on a monthly basis. And in terms of sort of controlling the spend on the outgoing, we typically include up to 50 end users accessing any given project. So that's usually way more than enough for most projects. So let's say your client is, I don't know, Marks and Spencer's. So you can tell Marks and Spencer, yeah, give us 50 logins, 50 usernames, and there's no extra cost for that. And if they do need more, then you're talking about $10 a year. So what's that? 70p a month. For an extra user, it's not a big deal. It's really more just to control the bandwidth rather than anything else. So it makes it very affordable.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's literally no cost incurred until your client says, "Yep, I love it. Let's go live with that." So if you design something and they try it out and they don't want it, there's nothing to pay.
Okay, that sounds like great value. Okay, so that's our last question. It looks like the timer has stopped on your video. So is that complete now? Is that the?
It is. It's deliberate to show you that we actually did it in 28 minutes rather than 30 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. And so, yeah, it's a fully funded dashboard there.
Unless there are any other questions, that's probably it. Do you want to wrap up, Benjamin?
Sure. What happened to my screen there? I was trying to get this dashboard out of the way now. Doesn't want to go. So I was just saying, yeah, how can we help you? So like I said, you can try Iris yourself, build some client examples. If you prefer, then our own service can do it for you. We also work in the realm of data visualization and infographics. So independently of dashboards, we can help you with infographics and PowerPoint if needed. Our core specialty is automated PowerPoint charting, PowerPoint, PDF, Excel reporting. And like I said, very favorable discounts for ICG members, and more than happy to work together and help us all in this difficult time that we're facing. And yeah, we'd love to make your impossible possible. So thank you very much for your time.
That's great. Well, thank you very much, Benjamin. And thank you to everybody for logging in. I hope you found it interesting and useful. We should have the video of this up on our website within the next 24, 48 hours. So you can refer back to it if you'd like to, or of course, contact Benjamin with the contact details that are shown on your screen at the moment. So yeah, that's it for another webinar. And thank you once again, and don't forget to join us in 2 weeks' time for our next webinar. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Sally. Thank you, everyone.